what keeps a person going when everything is taken away? And I mean everything. Not just your possessions, but your dignity, your identity, even your hope. It's a question that really cuts to the very core of what it means to be human.
Welcome to Tiny Drafts, a space for high-potential, unfinished people.
Today, we're digging into one of the most profound answers to that question found in the life and work of the psychiatrist Viktor Frankl. His book, Man's Search for Meaning, is so much more than a story of survival. It's basically a manual for finding purpose, even when you're staring into the abyss. So let's explore how he uncovered these incredible truths in the last place on Earth you'd ever expect.
So, let's set the scene. Before the war, Viktor Frankl was a prominent psychiatrist in Vienna. He was the head of neurology at Rothschild's Hospital, where he actually specialized in caring for suicidal patients. But in 1942, his life was turned upside down. He, his wife, and his parents were arrested and deported. And his life's work, a manuscript detailing his brand new theory, was sewn into the lining of his coat. It was one of the very first things he lost.
Frankl was no longer a doctor. He was now prisoner number 119104. He spent 3 years in 4 different Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz. He wasn't there as a psychiatrist, he was there as a slave, digging railway lines. And yet, he never stopped being an observer of the human soul. He was constantly watching himself and the people around him, trying to understand what was happening to their minds.
What he saw was a clear psychological journey. The first phase was just shock, a total disbelief at the brutal reality of it all. This was quickly followed by a second phase, a deep, profound apathy. He realized this emotional numbness was actually a necessary defense mechanism. Pity, horror, disgust, those were luxuries you just couldn't afford. And for those who survived, a third phase often followed liberation, a crushing disillusionment, where the joy they expected to feel was just gone, replaced by bitterness and an emptiness that was hard to shake. But in the middle of all this dehumanizing horror, Frankl had a breakthrough. He saw that the question of who survived and who didn't wasn't just about physical strength or dumb luck. It was something deeper. He realized that life wasn't a quest for pleasure, like Freud had taught, or for power, as Adler had suggested. No, it was a quest for meaning. Frankl often quoted Nietzsche because he believed this one idea was the key to everything. If a prisoner had a why, a reason to keep living, they could endure the unimaginable how of camp life. That why became their anchor in a sea of pure suffering. And the difference between these two mindsets was tragically real. Frankl noticed that prisoners who lost all hope, who just retreated into memories of the past, would soon die. He called it give-up-itis. The telltale sign was heartbreakingly simple. When a man started smoking his own cigarettes, which could be traded for life-saving soup, everyone knew he had given up. On the flip side, those who clung to a future, the thought of a loved one waiting for them, or unfinished work they had to complete, those were the ones who were most likely to survive.
From these horrific experiences, Frankl built his revolutionary approach to psychotherapy. He called it logotherapy. Logos is just the Greek word for meaning, and the whole therapy is built on this one core idea, that our primary drive in life isn't pleasure, it's the discovery and pursuit of what we personally find meaningful. Okay, so how do we actually find this meaning? I mean, it sounds great, but is it practical? Frankl wasn't vague about it at all. He laid out a very clear framework with 3 distinct paths available to anyone, anywhere, under any circumstances. All right, path number 1, we can find meaning through creation, by what we give to the world through our work. Number 2 is through experience, by what we take from the world, like seeing something beautiful in nature, or most importantly, by loving another person. But that third path, that's the most profound one, especially when the other 2 are just out of reach. We can find meaning in the attitude we choose towards suffering we can't possibly avoid.
Frankl saw this third path come to life with his own eyes. He saw prisoners who, despite their own suffering, would walk through the huts comforting others, giving away their last little piece of bread. He admitted they were few and far between. But, as he wrote, the fact that they existed at all was proof that our inner strength can lift us above our external fate.
And this brings us to the biggest lesson from Frankl's entire body of work. It's a truth that applies far beyond the barbed wire of a concentration camp and right into our own lives, with all our own anxieties and challenges. He called this idea tragic optimism.
Now, this isn't some blind, happy-go-lucky feeling. It's a conscious choice to say yes to life despite what he called the tragic triad that we all face: pain, guilt, and death. It's the ability to turn suffering into a human achievement, to see guilt as a chance to change for the better, and to use the fact that life is short as a reason to act responsibly, right now. And this is the ultimate point. Frankl argued that forces beyond our control can take almost everything from us, but they can never take away our final freedom, the freedom to choose our attitude in response. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That choice is yours and yours alone. And that really leaves us with a question to carry forward. In those moments when you're faced with a fate you cannot change, when you're confronted with unavoidable suffering, big or small, how will you choose to respond? This was Tiny Drafts.